Hey everyone, my name is Kevin. Let's talk about queer stuff and Jesus, and today I would really love to talk to you about what I believe allyship is and what it is not. So being that I am who I am, a queer Christian who feels called to work in conservative spaces to help bring about the inclusion of LGBTQ people and intersectional justice, I run into and meet a lot of people who say, what can I do to be a better ally? What can I do to be a better friend, to advocate for these marginalized people groups that I love? My friends, that is a damn good question. It's a really honorable and wonderful thing, and it's something that's absolutely needed, but I feel like there is this idea that to be an ally is a very simple thing. While on the one hand it is, at the same time it's not. So, welcome to another paradox of living in the world. I wanted to make this video to talk about what I believe and what other people that I've read and people I work with believe allyship to be. And this isn't by no means like a comprehensive guide to allyship, because I don't think there is a comprehensive guide to allyship, because what works and what is needed in one community is not going to be the same for what is needed and wanted from another community. So this is kind of a very general overview about what allyship is and is not. My friend Alicia Crosby has this really good idea about what allyship is, and it means like breathing the same air as somebody else. Like you live with this community, you're in this community, you know what the water quality is like, you know what the air quality is like, you know what the neighborhoods and the feelings and the hurts and the pains are of that community. So breathing the same air as someone that you claim to be friends with, to stand in solidarity with. So in order to know that, in order to breathe the same air, to know what life is like for that people, it means listening. And that's the first thing. A good ally listens more than they talk. A lot of times I've met people who want to be allies who really just want to talk a whole lot about their experiences with their queer friends, or how they feel bad about their privilege, or blah, 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 blah. But really what marginalized identity groups, and I'll speak for myself, what queer people and queer Christians are looking for is for you to be a good listener to our experiences and understand why we're angry, why we're upset, why we're even hesitant to walk back in churches sometimes. And that's going to be different than listening to your friends, for example, who might work with the Black Lives Matter movement. Complaints, their feelings, their anger is going to be much different than my own, and their needs are going to be different than my own. So again, you must listen to everyone and listen extensively. After you listen, you also need to start showing up, because to be an ally is not just a noun or a title that you place on yourself. It is a verb. Showing up for protest. It is standing up in your churches and pointing out discriminatory policies that are rooted in sexism, homophobia, or white supremacy. Things you need to name these things within your own congregations, and sometimes that means to your own detriment. Your relationships with people that you're close with might shift because of your radical commitment to the inclusion and liberation of marginalized identity groups. And that is a huge risk, but that is also what being an ally means. It's not just saying that, oh, I'm down for the movement. It's actually being down for the movement and taking on the same consequences of people who are in that marginalized identity group. One big part of being an ally is remembering that there aren't any off days. So for example, as a queer person, I can't really opt out of being queer. Like I am queer 24/7. I'm not always in the room when conversations are being had about me. So again, an example from my own experience as a queer Christian, oftentimes LGBTQ policies get discussed among pastors and lay people and leadership, and there are no LGBTQ people in the room. So if you, as someone who claims to be an ally, are in the room and you have access to those spaces, it is really important that you speak up in those moments. Or maybe it's around the dinner table, or maybe it's over coffee with friends, or you're having beers with your buddies and someone says something sexist, racist, homophobic. It is your duty as an ally in that moment to call out those behaviors, because the only way we're able to rectify those behaviors and change culture is by calling it out from person to person. Because me being this big fat internet person, if you send them this video, it's like they're not going to listen to me, they don't know me. But change happens on a relational level. So remember, there aren't any off days, because we don't have any off days. This next one kind of really jabs me hard. It's this idea of please do not center yourself. And what I mean by centering yourself is don't make this whole thing about you. I think there is a big issue with white people wanting to center themselves in conversations about race. I think there's a big problem with cisgender heterosexual pastors wanting to center themselves in conversations about gender identity and sexual orientation when they are part of the majority. When you're trying to be a good ally, as much as possible, center people who are part of the identity group that you are claiming to fight for. We don't often get the platforms, the retweets, the invitations to speak at conferences that you might get as a straight cisgender person. And I get it. There might be spaces that I can't enter because I'm queer. Sometimes it takes a straight cisgender pastor to be the inroad to having conversations about that, and I appreciate that. But as much as possible, remember, you need to be turning the spotlight to us, handing the microphone to one of us in order so that we can tell our own story, because we're very capable of doing that ourselves. Cannot stress this one enough. The way you react to feedback says everything about your allyship. There's gonna be moments when you mess up. There's gonna be moments when you say the wrong thing, when you do something and you offend somebody, and you will say, but I didn't mean to offend nobody. That's not what I meant. You need to remember, it is never about your intention. It is always about your impact. And I'm saying this to myself too, because I am an imperfect ally. And the way I try to react in most situations when somebody gives me feedback is to say, thank you for letting me know. What can I do to be better? Majority of the time, people will give that to you, and sometimes they won't, and that's their business. But it is up to you to continually ask questions, to continue to stay curious, and to continue to keep your hands open and not balled up in fists. Don't get defensive when people give you feedback. Just say, thank you, take some time to take it in, go to one of your friends who might be a part of that identity group and say, hey, I got this piece of feedback from somebody and I want to see if I can unpack it with you. Don't do it to somebody who's like always working all the time. See if maybe one of your straight friends might be able to unpack it with you, or maybe one of your white friends. Maybe they're able to unpack and shed a little bit of light on this. Don't try and justify something stupid or racist or sexist or homophobic that you said. Take it in, learn, become better, because it's always going to be that. I feel like justice work is really just like a big cycle of like doing the right thing, messing up, and then keep going. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to kick you out of the club. I want you to get better. We want you to be better, which is why we're sharing the feedback with you. Yeah, so overall, like, if you want to be somebody who wants to be a good ally, just start asking questions, start listening to more stories, start showing up to protests and marches, start engaging with the community that you want to be in solidarity with. It's really as simple as that. Keep your eyes open, your ears open, and your hands open, and I guarantee that is going to lead to some really solid allyship. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. You can connect with me on all the social media. All the links are below. And comment if you'd like. I'd really love to know, what does allyship mean to you? What does a good ally for your particular community look like? What does that relationship feel like? Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you later on the internet somewhere. Bye!